Hi everybody. Thank you for coming. My name is Alessandra Luciano. I work at the Ministry of Culture in Luxembourg, and I'm responsible for the national digital strategy pertaining to cultural heritage. So I accompany our cultural heritage institutions, our sector, in their digital transformation. And I'm just going to pass on to my colleague before we start.
Hi, I'm Kugeler. I work at the National Museum of History, Archaeology and Art in Luxembourg, and I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, so we wanted to present briefly on an initiative that started as a pilot project called Museonet. And we really, our title is super long because we really wanted to make sure that what we are talking about and what we are presenting is just not theory, but is truly operational and truly practice-based. So that's why it's really called a decisive response, because there was a need that was identified many, many years ago, maybe even 10 years ago. And then it took us actually a decade to really build up the network and help our community and the needs that they were expressing. So just to set the stage, as you know, digital transformation is reshaping how cultural heritage is preserved, managed, and shared. And our initiative of Museonet exemplifies a collaborative, standards-driven approach to museum collection management designed to unify and elevate the digital presence of Luxembourg's museums. This is maybe a fun fact. Luxembourg has the highest percentage of museums per square kilometer or whatever. So even though we're a small country in terms of kilometers and citizens, there's a lot of museums, and all of these museums are often, all these local regional museums are often voluntary based and in the hands of a lot of people that really do this out of passion, which I'm sure a lot of you know, that a lot of our cultural heritage is preserved, maintained, and created through the lovely hands and dedication of a few people. So the little background and rationale again. So there was a need that was identified to create a software system to manage local museum collections. Luxembourg is too small for everybody to have their own little system or their own little ways of working. So the Ministry of Culture, the regional department that helps these local museums, regional museums, responded to this need and had a first attempt at custom building a software that everybody could use. Eventually, the National Museum joined, and as the largest stakeholder, they really took on the role of leadership, but also as centralizing a lot of the capacity and building a lot of the capacity. As the project grew in complexity, especially regarding to data hosting, as we know, it's increasingly complex, but also as we saw yesterday, in terms of security, we saw that at the Policy Forum, cybersecurity, we had to involve larger stakeholders. So the Ministry of Culture got involved via my department, who is in charge of digital transformation, and our central central government IT administration. This is to say that we really needed a large panel of stakeholders to be able to tackle maybe what could feel like a very small data set from a very small regional museum. But the need, or like the importance was so big that we decided to all come together to build something larger and sustainable. So it went from actually a pilot project to a scalable model. And that is something that as the ministry really come back, everything we try to build has to be scalable so that we can increase in size, and it has to be reproducible. So we try not to do one fits all, but sort of in the beginning, we tried to find common ground, build something that then we can reproduce across other museums or other actors. So the pilot project first, we had four participating museums for our pilot, and I'm not going to name them because they have French names, so it's a little complicated. We're not there yet. No, not yet. Sorry. Yeah, the introduction is a bit long potentially compared to the slides, but just to say our first pilot museums were very different. So we had the Museum of Human Rights and Resistance. We had the printing and playing cards, so very different types of data set and collections. The National Military History, So again, very different. And then one of our favorite is the art of brewery. That's right, beers. Luxembourg, quick plug for Luxembourg, we make wine and beer, and it's quite good. So finally, what is Museonet? So the vision was to create a network of museums who share data and expertise, as you can read, providing professional tools to smaller institutions, museums specifically, so that they can be connected to a larger digital ecosystem that has a central vision, but that has a central mission, but it has a worldwide vision, so to speak, or like a larger vision. And essentially also to preserving and promoting our diverse cultural heritage. I think it's very important, despite Luxembourg being small. Again, Luxembourg has accents, for example. Even though we're very small, there are different types of accents. There's different types of approaching your own culture, even though we're small. And I think that's really important to preserve, especially, and this is something that we also wrote in our application to the conference, in terms of in the age of AI, how important it is to present heterogeneity and not just an homogeneous mass, even when you are a smaller country like Luxembourg. I think next slide. So it is, as I said, it's more than a technical solution. It's a strategic network of digital infrastructure that facilitates collaboration. It fosters exchange, knowledge sharing, and coordinating among Luxembourgish museums. It implements a shared collection management system. In our case, it's, I guess I have to say the name, Museum Plus, customized to international standards and protocols, which I think is very important, because it's not because you're a smaller actor that, standards are not important. Ensures data consistency, of course, and interoperability. It enhances visibility and accessibility so that we can lay the groundwork for a future public-facing digital platform, making collections accessible to both professionals and the general public. And in general, it should standardize and simplify research across all these different collections. So, and we do that via harmonizing data on individual objects, streamlining research, and discovery across institution. So these are essentially our stakeholders. Oh, I see there's a slip here, but yeah, so it's a multi-agency collaboration that ensures both technical robustness, because you really need to be technically robust if you're trying to have 5 museums right now, so 4 pilot museums, a national museum, and increasingly we want to onboard more museums to the network, and to align with the cultural sector. So we also are not doing this because we think it's fun or because we have money to spend. It is fun, but we're doing this because it's truly an identified need from our community. So again, just to give you a quick breakthrough. So the Ministry of Culture and my department, we do the financial backing, strategic oversight. We coordinate and support the project. We liaise with the CEDCHE, which is the Central IT Administration, for resource allocation. The National Museum, the MNHA, central management and coordination. And we need their technical business expertise. CTIE is the IT, technical infrastructure, software provision, ongoing maintenance and development. And if you've done these kind of software infrastructure works, you understand how expensive these can be. So we're very grateful that we have like a central admin who really supports us and who puts resources behind all of this. Of course, the most important stakeholders are the museums, current members or future members, because they do the lobby for themselves and for their community. So those are very important voices. And then we put Ecom Luxembourg too, because they obviously have a general oversight on museums and their mission. So we try,
It's my turn. Practice. So as I said, I'm from the National Museum. I'm from the National Museum, and we do the in practice coordination and so on. So what's Museonet? Well, it's one shared database that museums that aren't we don't all have the same boss, basically, but we share the same database. And it's managed by us centrally and hosted by the Central IT Department. That's the CTIE. So what does this mean in practice? So we all share the same data structure. This means object data is easily comparable between museums, and it's easily recognizable from one museum to the other. I mean, the objects are very different and obviously very diverse, but describing them can be kind of the same thing over and over again. So this makes possible that we use the same set of export templates. So basically, whenever someone wants to export their data, they can use templates that other museums also have. Also, again, this makes it reusable by other museums. For example, our Lido export template that we at the MNAHA use to publish our data on our online collection. We hope that other museums will also use this to publish their data, and also, of course, this will be how they will be able to put their data onto Europeana as well, for example. Then we have shared cataloging guides. So basically, whenever, also all the museums, and these are collaboratively written, we use a Git book, basically, where everyone shares their expertise in cataloging different kinds of objects. For example, the Beer Museum, they are the expert in beer mark description, and I'm joking, but they are. The Military Museum are the experts in weapon description and so on, and so it doesn't make sense to have like one top-down guideline. Instead, every member gives us their own expertise. Though we have shared cataloging guides, we also have common thesauri. So these are vocabulary lists that we share. All the museums use the same ones. And they are based on the international standards, and my dream is to publish them as linked open data soon. We share the authority database, so all the persons and collective agents linked to to the different objects exist only once in the database and not multiple times. That way we can also identify links between the museums. So if one museum has objects by the same guy that another museum has objects by. And maybe, for example, with the Resistance Museum, we find that paintings that we have in our collection are linked to objects that they have in their collection that aren't paintings, but are maybe the report from the deportation that this person suffered, for example. Finally, we also share among the museums, and again, I need to re-explain that these are not museums under the same share. Every museum's independent on their own. We share object data among the museums, so every museum sees a bit of object data from the other museums. So if we can go to the next slide, this is our Git book. Basically just tips for cataloging and everything, and this is kind of community written. Then we have on the next slide, and the next slide, this is what the database looks like. This is the archaeology interface, but we have a few different interfaces. And then on the next slide, we see what other museums see from each museum. So there's a subset of data that everyone can see from the others. Exactly. We have a governance structure that, because there is no central government structure of these museums, we needed to kind of set that up. And it has a big focus on community involvement. So we never wanted a network where, I don't know, the ministry or the MNAHA would be at the forefront and telling everyone what to do. So we involved everyone. We wanted to involve all the members. And that is how we have a yearly cycle of 2 members being chosen at random to join the steering committee. And we started already, we had our first steering committee and it went really well. So currently it's 5 museums. Yeah, these are the ones. Exactly. Yeah, so just so you can see and imagine it a bit, this is a map of all the Luxembourg museums. As Alessandra said, we have many museums. And on the next slide, you can see the museums that have, that are and will very, very soon be members. So as you can see, it's not 5, but 7. But, and we try to have like a regional diversity, as you can easily see on this slide. We're getting the wine museum now, so we have beer and wine. Yeah, then we have admission criteria, but Alessandra will tell you these.
Yeah. So of course we would like to add all of, can you get the pointer? Sorry. Yes. So of course we would like to add all of those museums, but that's just not possible for multiple reasons, especially because we gave ourselves some criteria and commitment. So of course every museum in Luxembourg that is also defined as a museum by ICOM is a target member for us, regardless of collection focus. So as you can tell, it's very diverse. So as I said, the admission criteria that we gave ourselves for now is that you have to have a membership with ICOM. You have to at least dedicate one staff member to the network, and the staff member will be liaising with sort of the steering committee, and they'll be responsible for training and communication. I think it's very important to designate one staff member because a lot of these institutions are volunteer-led. So you really need to make sure that you have one dedicated person who can really keep up with the demands. Regarding back to cybersecurity, we have also, no, go back. We also have to have a very a specific cybersecurity. They have to have like proper infrastructure. And this may sound insane, but even today, a lot of these institutions don't have a proper internet connection. They don't know what an antivirus is. And so if we're onboarding them onto a local network, we become vulnerable to phishing, to fraud, to scam. And so in terms of what we saw yesterday, again, in the policy forum, cybersecurity, they need to have a somewhat modern technical infrastructure, and they need to really respect the government level securities, which we do via like trusted security tokens. The other thing that we're really important about is the commitments of the member, because it's really easy to join a club. It's more difficult to actually participate because it is so community-led. We really, quote unquote, require that there's active participation in our trainings and ongoing professional development, because that's another mission that the ministry has given itself, is the upskilling and competency building of the regional local sector. They have to adhere to the shared cataloging standards and data protocols. We don't want to create like just a dumping place for bad data, because we all know that bad data leads to nowhere. So they need to engage in all these various best practices. They also, we also encourage that they contribute themselves with ideas, with projects, so that we can really build a network based on their needs and what they see the future of their work or like their community looks like. And then finally, they also need to comply. The ministry has a code of ethics that they also need to comply to, which means, for example, they have to, if they employ somebody, they need to be fairly remunerated, like they need to be paid. Things like that, so that we can preserve also a clear ethical code around cultural work, which is often unseen or not perceived as something that needs to be paid, because we're all doing it for fun, right? Yeah. So, but also, so important to note is that we also have offboarding procedures, which is not fun, is what happens if a community member does not comply to all of this. We're in the beginning, so we've not had difficult conversations around that. But if we have onboarding procedures, we have offboarding procedures. So if we notice that a member is not complying to the cataloging rules or to the standards, or is not cohesive in their data management, or is just using our platform as a dumping ground, then we will first of all talk to them and see how we can help them improve their practices. And if we see that there's no improvement, then we will slowly remove their data and offboard them from the network. Because as a member, you don't only get access to an information platform and the entire technological infrastructure, but you get also access to the community and to all the knowledge. And I think so it's out of also respect for all the other members that are putting in the work, that are dedicating staff, that are contributing to the growth of the community, to kind of maintain a healthy relationship amongst each other. And so all of this is fairly clear. We have a standard contract we sign, well, the museum signs with all these museums, so that everybody knows what they get involved with, what they get and what is expected from them. So just to kind of wrap this up, impact, thinking about impacts of scalability. So Museonet is reproducible and thus scalable by design. We can go as big and as small as we want. interoperable. Of course, we're super excited about adhering to international standards, and which enables future integration to platforms such as Europeana. And of course, public engagement, which is really important. So we're working on an online platform that will democratize access to this heritage, supporting education, research, and tourism. Again, just because these are smaller entities, they don't necessarily get the time and space that they really deserve. So this is just to wrap up. We believe that Museonet shows that a strategic collaboration, robust technical infrastructure, shared standards can empower even smaller museums to lead in the digital preservation. So from the ministry side, we really want to set the framework, but then what happens within it is up to the community. And I think that is so important from a government body to be able to give that access to the museum communities in this sense, so that they can shape it for their needs and wants. Again, it's not just a software rollout, it's a holistic approach to digital transformation. And we are very excited about it because it unites people, it makes us better in our processes, and we create technology that benefits everyone. Thank you so much.
So we have to leave, which is why we'll take questions right now. Before we have to leave.
Anyone here? So you're free to go then,
Oh, cool.
No, sorry.
No, I thought we had a QR code.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot a QR code.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Never mind, I figure out a way.
Yeah? Okay, that's good. Okay, good. But you say
So I wish I had a
yeah, no, but I can do the clicker if you say next slide.
No.
No?
No, I'll figure it out.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So yeah, I'm just gonna put this here.
Can we check the microphone again?
Sorry? Good afternoon, everyone. So I'll need my phone, the microphone, and the clicker. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I wish I hadn't. Third time. No. I'll be fine. Well, so let's do like this. Aha. Okay. Well, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here today, to be able to share a project that begins in a place that you most probably know by its wonderful landscapes. So I come from Madeira. It's an island in Portugal. It's 950 kilometers far from the mainland. So it is quite a lovely place to travel, and I invite you all to go there. But for the ones working with the cultural heritage, it's a big of a challenge. So living in an ultra-peripheral region, far from the main center of culture and resources, it's always a big challenge. And also I would like to add first that for the past 10 years we've been elected and been voted by the world's best island destination. So yes, we have all of that, but still a challenge for the ones working with cultural heritage. And it's a big of a challenge because we are far from the main centers, we are far from resources and from knowledge. And well, it's like having an amazing treasure, and you want to share it, and the logistic and all that. It's an adventure. And okay, this is the building where I work, and it's the Regional Directorate for Archives, Libraries, and Book in Madeira. And it's precisely in this context that the institute I represent is operating. So we'll go through these topics, and I will explain how we overcome our challenges and obstacles, and in our mission to be the bridge between the valuable heritage and the public. Okay, this is now how we operate. Okay. In regions like Madeira Island, the preservation of our cultural heritage is always facing significant obstacles, and that can only be overcome by innovation and cooperation and a little bit of creativity. So what are our main obstacles? We have the distance, we have the limited infrastructure, we have the limited resources, and by limited resources, I mean adequate equipment, personnel, and often personnel is often insufficient, and also insufficient training. And in recent years, our partners and there's been a growing awareness of the culture itself and the urgency of preservation. So our partners feel the need to digitize their documents, but most of the time they run lack of means to do so. And there's where we come in. Our strategy is to ensure that regardless these limitations, a partnership for digitization is always possible. And we need to empower local professionals with the latest technical skills and best practices. So we are creating a collaborative model. Okay. And this model is based on sharing resources and knowledge, creating a cooperation network that is focused on the collaborative digitization and preservation of cultural heritage. And in the near future, what our intentions are is that we want to connect better with our partners and other institutions, and we want that we can all contribute in the same way. This strategy is clear, and in this way we want Madeira cultural heritage to be stronger. Okay. So the aim is to democratize access to cultural heritage, promote knowledge and historical memory, ensure the longevity of information in the face of physical and digital risks, and also empower communities in the management of their own collections. The strategy intends to be flexible, and this is important. We want to be flexible and inclusive. We want our strategy to adjust to the specifications and capacities and realities of other institutions and local entities. Our support intends to be as open as possible. In the partnership, we want to learn with each other. So it's not just us giving information or helping others. We want in the near future to partners to come all together and exchange experience. Okay. So what is our partnership types? We do partnerships with entities with their own document heritage. And for those institutions that already own or have their own equipment, what do we offer? We offer crucial technical support to ensure quality standardized guidelines for digitization. And what do I mean by that? So we help with our best practices. We teach the appropriate digitization formats and metadata, and we help them with workflow strategies and also with online tools for project management and team management and storage backups and document handling for digitization purpose, quality control, post-processing, and so on and so on. This is how we help the ones that already have their own equipment and still they are in a very fragile position because they still don't know how to engage with a new project. And also, and partnerships with without. Okay, sorry. So for partners, this is a kind of our strategy here. But for partners, sorry, a little bit before. Partners without their own equipment, we provide our own infrastructure. We ensure full inclusion in the process. And the partner institution is, when possible, ensures the allocation of staff members to the project. We train employees, collaborators, ensuring the proper use of tools and the application of best practices through the entire process. And we don't digitize everything. We only digitize and we only do partnerships with institutions that have documents with informative, historical, or patrimonial valuable. And we take the documents. The process is we take the documents, and you'll see later on. Okay, so here is, okay, again with entities with their own capacity. So we bring, what we share workflows, we share training, best practices, technical guidance, project management, and this is what we do with partners in institutions. Okay. And for those who don't have their own means, as long as the documents provide informative, historical, or patrimonial valuable, they are welcome. The documents are welcome in our facilities and to be digitized in a controlled environment. So we provide our own infrastructure and we ensure that we either can allocate human resource to help them digitize, or they bring their own human resources. Sometimes we don't have the means to digitize the documentation, so we just ask, okay, we have the equipment, but we don't have human resources. So if you do have, so come along, and then we can teach your personnel to work. And with this, and with identity, with their own capacity, the objective is to ensure that all procedures follow common criteria for digital preservation and maintain high standards and technical quality, regardless of the institution performing the digitization. And for those without, the approach is to ensure that no entity is excluded from digitization processes due to lack of means, reinforcement, the commitment to inclusion, local capacity building, and equitable sharing of heritage. And the impact and network growth. So by sharing our knowledge, we actively contribute to a public policy of inclusive memory and citizenship, ensuring that digitized heritage become a common good and a driver for the cultural and scientific development of the region. So what are the next steps? Okay, the next steps. And what's next? So we're still starting this project, so we have a long way to go. We want really to do partnerships, and we want to ensure everyone is included in the digitization area. And so the next steps is to identify all institutions with digitization equipment and actively digitization programs. And we want to form dedicated teams with members from various partners institutions. And we want to ensure that all outsourcing projects are fully aware of capture, storage, and standardization requirements. Develop and implement continuous quality assurance protocols for digitized content. We want to provide ongoing training and professional development opportunities. We want to create an open and responsive channel for technical support. We want actively and to monitor ongoing digitization projects, provide guidance, implement frameworks to measure project success, and identify areas for improvement. And also, we want to explore and integrate new digital preservation technologies and methodologies. So this is the impact. Here you can see the chart, and I didn't put anything. This is how we've been partnering and the growth of our partnerships. I didn't put before 2021 because if I sum those years before, it would be the same amount as 2021. So as you can see, since we opened to a wider public and we have been partnering with other institutions, we have been growing the digitization of the cultural heritage in Madeira. Okay, and the key points are, just to finish, is the power of collaborative digitization is interinstitutional partnerships overcome resource limitations, sustainable preservation through shared expertise, equipment, and standardized workflows. So also here we have the sustainable preservation, and the sustainable part here is that we ensure that not all of the institutions need to have their own equipment. We can share because we have, and it's difficult to buy equipment. They're so expensive. And even if you buy equipment, how do you teach your team to what is the requirement to digitize? You just don't buy equipment and then start digitizing. Usually you just go with what the companies that tell you to do, and it's not what we want. We want to make the standard procedures, want people and partners to understand what it means to digitize, and proper digitization and preservation digitization. That's why we are there. And again, this sustainable also means that if we have an equipment and we are digitizing from 8 to 5, we still have from 5 on an equipment available to digitize. So that's also a sustainable part when we partnership. So just use it when it's not being used. And also the role of regional networks. Local networks enable collaboration, resource sharing, and workflows optimization. We enhance preservation of cultural heritage and standardization for long-term preservation. So you want to uniform procedures and alignment with international standards, ensure quality and longevity. Oh, there's something missing. So there's one. I had one. There's no longer there, so I had a QR code, so you can check out my place of work, and if you had any questions, you can go there. So thank you very much for listening.
By the way, you got compliments in the chat. You can't see that, but people were congratulating you on the initiative. So I just
Okay. First, yeah.
Yes, I wanted to
Thank you.
get home.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me to do the talks, for select my talk. And well, my name is Raul Gomez Hernandez. I am a postgraduate teaching assistant at Complutense University of Madrid, and I'm going to present a project that my students in degree of media have been working. First thing that I would like to show is this building. This building is the Faculty of Media of Complutense University of Madrid, where I work, where I do my teaching. In this case, is a subject that is called audiovisual communication and education, where we take topics like media literacy and communication, topics around how to involve projects with new technologies and ICT with communication, and how to fight against misinformation, for example. In this case, we're going to work around sustainability. In this case, you're going to see, I'm going to explain in a bit, is a subject who has been involved for a long time, and its project I try to involve with digital heritage. In this case, last year project, it was involved in the Build with Bits 3, the third edition of Build with Bits. Build with Bits is an initiative from Luciano, who worked in the framework of the European Bauhaus, and it's about sustainability. In that case, what they did is to work around different projects of media literacy, but involving in a digital heritage place. In this case, is the Monasterio of Suso in La Rioja. In this case, they create this model from and they created projects to show in videos and posters, as you can see there. It was created in Mozilla Hubs, and then they work also for Roblox. So this year, what I would like to do is to implement something different, because we work with 360 images and virtual visits and different ways of working, like videos, interactive videos. So in that way, it was in the Media Lab Madrid archive, as you can see on the logo over there, exhibition. This is an exhibition from Art, Science and Technology Living Lab that is hosted in the Complutense University of Madrid, and it came from a collection that we have from 2002-2006, that it was in Matadero, and it was co-hosted and coordinated by Karin Oles-Leger, that maybe you know if you are used to know about contemporary art in that way, because it was one of the curators well-known at international level. And in this case, the collection that they came to the Complutense University of Madrid with a donation from Karin. And for the reason, this year with a project, in the framework of a project of the Ministry of Science, we tried to do this exhibition. And why this project is related to the subject is mostly because what we try to do is to include my students in the framework of this project, creating an artwork, a digital artwork for this exhibition, from all the projects that they are going to work with fake news about climate change. So in this case, you can see what the project is about. Is Media Lab Madrid Archive, as I say, the European Bauhaus, from what's the Build with Bits What's, but also the sustainability, as I say, as main topic. And for example, last year we did another project for Ministry of Science that it's published in the website of the Media Lab Madrid Archive, that is with all these projects that it was presented at Build with Bits. And also all is related to the sustainable goals from United Nations, and also involved in a project with other partners. In this case, this project, the funding that they get for doing this digital work, it came from two initiatives. One is Meet and Code. Meet and Code is a digital art initiative or coding initiative that they enable any communities to work on coding. So in that case, it was funded by Amazon Future Engineers, and what they work is together with the Code Week. The Code Week is the Code Week of the European Union that is funded by European Union, And what we try to do is get a partnership with associations of young professionals in cultural heritage, as we like to work with digital heritage. So in this case, we work with Asociación de Jóvenes Profesionales por Patrimonio Cultural, who I'm the president, and it was formerly the CEDCHE Madrid group. That is the group in Madrid of the European Students for Cultural Heritage. So in that case, we get the funding through the association to the university to do, and what we did with this funding. Mostly, it was funded for workshops to work with artists. So the students, apart from their work they are doing in research, they could implement all their creativity with the instructions and the guidance of the artists who are working on data visualization and also digital heritage in that way. So mostly the aim of the project is to raise awareness of the importance of combating disinformation and misinformation generated by fake news and climate change with digital heritage, in this case, from the Media Lab Archive, Madrid Archive, and using AI tools, mostly AI generative tools, as you are going to be now, and using the Media Lab methodologies, because all these artists were working before on the Media Lab methodologies, and also they were developing their work on the Media Lab Madrid, and later on Media Lab Prado and Media Lab Matadero. This now. Oh, sorry. What happened? Yeah. So in the slide, you can see what is the inspiring for the work that they are going to do. In this case, we work with a work that is in the Media Lab Archive that is called Big City. Big City is a work from an architectural lab who is based in Rotterdam, who is MVDR, VDR-TV. And it was a artwork who was commissioned by the Strom, that is a center of community art in The Hague. So it was commissioned in 2000, and in 2002 it was presented in Madrid in this Media Lab, because this Media Lab has lots of exhibitions with different artists. So in this case, at the Big City, what I'd like to know is a model of how pigs could be established, could be also kill or be something sustainable for society. Mostly on 2000, the Netherlands was the main producer of pork meat in the European Union. And for the reason as the Netherlands have a lot of space, what they thought is, what can I do to be sustainable, to have good conditions for the pigs and everything. So they thought this skyscraper that you can see over there, where the different layers are different farms like these ones, where the pigs can eat, can rest, and then on part below they have also the place where they kill the pigs. And they process the work. So in that case, you have all the process on this building, and it was the thing that we thought that it was the best thing to think about sustainability, because this is one possible future in 2000. But what happened nowadays? What we think that is the sustainable future nowadays? So in that case, they thought about different topics: food, transportation, fuel, sustainability, and all these topics that you can see. So they choose in different groups of 4 or 5 people, all these topics that they came from discussion around this topic with artists, and they thought, what we can do? So mostly they thought fake news that could be related to this topic. They thought they looked for information that could be in different reports. So we were working on data that could be able about this topic. So when we have all this data, they go through data visualization. They use open software, and that could be able for them to visualize, and they create this kind of charts that you can see, lines, rounds, or bars. And with the help of different artists, they were working on how to transform these normal charts in something creative, and how to do something digital. So in that case, we have the case of Elisa Cuesta Fernandez. Is an artist. It's an artist that he was working on that way. So this one is, for example, her Facebook charts and doing with good, for example. They created different kind of visualization with different materials. So what I propose to my students is to use all these data visualizations in a way that could be more digital, to create our work digital. So what they do is to ask ChatGPT or other AI generative to create posters, diagrams, and also videos that could be interact with all this information to propose possible futures, possible things that they think about the past, and also with the data situations in the present. So in that case, they have data from the past, from 20 years, from the present, and 20 years in the future, so, or hypothesis. So in that case, what they try to do is use prompts. Also, I was teaching about ethics in the AI, how to do prompt generation. So they try to be accurate to all of them. These ones are some of the things that they try to do, and also they include some information. As you can see, that there are some modifications that we do. There are some that are more optimistic, other more realistic. So with this, they create a website, an HTML, CSS website, where they have this these pages or these points where all of these are the different topics that we were saying before. You can see there are some of them, they have more optimistic, some of them from more pessimistic, and others that they have the 3 levels: the present, the past, the future, and the present. And other ones like this one, you can see how it's so. That's mostly the poster, the diagram, and or the infographic, and the video. So when it was the exhibition, that it was from 25 of April to 26 of May, what they tried to do is to create, transform this website in a video projection, and they create this as part of the exhibition. So this exhibition, you can consult and you can go to this exhibition, who is published on the website of the university as a virtual visit with 360 that I created, because also I'm part of the curational process of the exhibition. So I create a virtual visit with in 360, so you can consult, and also you can access to different links that they have, and one of these links on the exhibition at the Media Lab Madrid archive is related to the exhibition, apart from the different things that they have. So thank you very much for giving this opportunity, for your attention, and here you have my QR code with my profile to Europeana page.